What is up? What is up, DTube? So today I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to talk a little bit here, day 5 out of day 5 out of 100 days of HEX. Actually, it's day 7 today, but I'm going to cover this day today because I didn't do it yesterday. Okay, so today I want to talk a little bit about this divide and conquer concept. So I'm seeing all this in the so-called DeFi space right now. All these other crypto guys, they're recommending so many other coins, and it seems like they're doing the same mistake as they did last time in 2017, where they have all these followers, and they're recommending all these DeFi stuff, so-called DeFi stuff that hasn't any proved business model in the real world, but they're recommending this to their followers, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing as last time. It is a bunch of words and promises, and people are buying into the logo, and people are buying into the bad story. So I think, yeah, this Chainlink story, I haven't seen anyone been able to prove to me some real important use case for Chainlink. I haven't seen any of that, but I'm seeing people are being sold a bunch of promises. And it's the same story. Like, it's the same story as 2017, and these guys haven't learned anything. I've learned, okay, and that's why I moved in with HEX. So HEX is different. HEX doesn't have any promises. HEX is complete. HEX has no expectations. HEX works right now. It's very clear what the product is. You can create more HEX if you're staking HEX. You can create more coins. And isn't this the only thing that people are interested in? Getting more coins, and by the way, getting scarcity with the share price system. So let's look at what's pumping now. And I mean, the problem with all these things that are pumping is they're still in the old paradigm where they're considering the price as the key factor, while Hexicans understand that the fundamental we are using is the share price system, because obviously the share price system that always goes up. Clearly that gotta be better, right? Yeah, it gotta be better. So, okay, so Chainlink is pumping pretty hard. It's top 5 coin, and I'm very, very happy that it passed Bitcoin Cash. What is very interesting here is this aspect of, so yeah, it's up to $18.37, 7 billion market cap. I love how it's gonna flip XRP Ripple. Ripple is currently top 3 coin. It's a nonsense stuff. It's nonsense. XRP is nonsense. Ripple is lying on their website where it's saying they have 300 financial institutions that are using them. We don't see that on the price. So obviously it doesn't look like they have any revenue going on. So they have to prove that what they're saying is legit. I haven't seen any evidence that they have 300 partners or anything. Bunch of fancy words on their website without any proof. So Chainlink is pumping 9% up, but okay, 5% up. No, 9% actually. Yeah, it's probably may even flip Ethereum, but I don't think really that I don't think that tells you that much, because I mean the Hexicans has this, you know, if you do the math, if you do the design math, and what people have done on the share price system in HEX like 10 years down the line, I don't see anything here be able to get a higher ROI. Now, HEX used to have a design intention, right? It can go to 0, but if the design intention works, none of these other things are going to be able to compete against it. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. But yeah, Chainlink is pumping, and it's only, yeah, 7 billion, soon $7.1 billion. I hope Ripple XRP goes down to 20 cents again. It's at around 30 cents right now. It's probably going to go down again though, because there's nobody really using it. There is nobody using it, you know. What is more pumping? Yeah, I mean, divide and conquer. So let's talk a little bit about this. I want to talk about this divide and conquer concept. I sort of feel that all of this fake DeFi that we have that is not HEX it's kind of divide and conquer from a lot of wealthy people, where they realize they can sell people again false lies and hopes and promises, and we can make them buy into it again, just as in the last ICO 2017 boom. And it is kind of divide and conquer, because instead of people going into an honest project like HEX, they're like spreading themselves super thin in a bunch of random stuff that they don't know anything about. They haven't studied it. The code probably is not even audited. You don't even know who the team is in many of these things that say they have teams. Okay, HEX doesn't have any teams. It's just a smart contract, and you can go and look at the code. But most of these other things here, you can't look at the code. It is yeah, you don't really know what goes on, and it's a big problem. So it's divide and conquer, right? That people are putting stuff in stuff that they probably don't know anything about, and you have these guys, these so-called influencers, that just found some random coins and then instantly throws it at other innocent people, and they haven't even studied the coin for a few years, or just at least a couple of months. They're just throwing these coins at people and don't even understand what they're doing. And basically, they're putting people in this mode of gambling, where they're like, okay, this may pump super fast, super quick. While the HEX community and the hexagons, the way they're looking at things is like super long term. So average stake now is like 4.75 years, or 4.75 years, almost 5 years. Like, everyone in the HEX community understand the long-term aspect. Nobody is trying to say, oh, you should do like short stakes. No, that's not the mentality in the HEX community. Nobody's looking at it in the HEX community from the short-term perspective. Everyone, we're trying to avoid divide and conquer by doing it, making humans realize that you should probably stake extremely long. Because if you don't, you're going to get caught up in divide and conquer, where you don't really know what you're getting into. All these other coins that people can sell at any time, they are more risky. Yes, HEX is also risky, and everyone knows it can go to zero, but the design intention is very different compared to all these other things. All these other things, people can sell 100% of the coins at any moment. You can't do that with HEX. You can't do that with HEX. All of the coins that are locked, if they end stake early, they're going to pay massive penalty. If they want to dump that value, like the locked coins, of course you can dump, but the staked coins, that's something that you can't dump, and that's kind of good to know that there's a lot of actors that can't dump on you. But all these other things, and like people that are just recommending coins super quick that they found, like they just popped up from nowhere and they're instantly recommending it, they're probably recommending all these coins because they have no idea what they're doing. Like, they have no idea. They don't understand that there's probably going to be one or two coins that are going to take over the whole market, and everything else is going to be trash, because everything else usually don't have a business model, use promises. They have horrible teams. They're not competent. So probably most things are not going to work because it's just a bad business model. It's just a bad idea. Probably one or two coins are going to take over the whole industry. And that's probably what is going to happen. And people are like throwing like hundreds of coins at people, and it is divide and conquer. It just confuses people, and it divides people, and I don't think that that is good for the crypto community long term. It would be good if we had super many honest actors in this industry, and if people really did mean well, but since most of the coins are pure nonsense, and most of the trash is like super short term, it's not good for people. Yeah, people can make a lot of stuff, a lot of value quick, but they're probably going to lose it. They're probably going to lose it because they're going to keep gamble, and they're going to keep trying to find ways to 2x or 3x, and usually that is not going to work in the long run. So what else do we have? Top 91 coin, Gate Chain, 18% up. It's so funny how a lot of these things are pumping, like iOS token. iOS token is up 8% today. Gate Chain is up 10 positions today. I mean, there's so many things that are pumping that has this hexagon logo, and it's very interesting. Like, wow, someone is pumping hexagons. And it's really interesting, right? Because the hex logo is a hexagon, and it was one of the first hexagons to come out on the market in this DeFi age, and that actually is true DeFi. And it's kind of funny how all these other things now are coming out. They're way worse. Like, all these other things are not hex. Usually it's way worse, and doesn't have a real business model, they don't have a Telegram group with like thousands of users. If they had a Telegram group with thousands of users and have had a real business model, not just promises and expectations, because all these projects are not hex. They are promising a bunch of stuff, and they have expectations, and they know that if they say those things, that people are gonna get kind of involved, you know. So it's kind of funny, right? It's like yeah, it's divide and conquer, and I don't see anything of those other things holding up. Because when I've been in the crypto industry now for 3 years, I've been seeing the low standards. I've been seeing the low standards, and I've been seeing like how low competence most people have in this industry. So the chance that you're gonna pick some random new coin that just popped up from nowhere with no faces, and they're talking a bunch of big words, the chance of that being a major success is like so low. It's probably not even 1%. So you probably want to move to complete projects. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think it's bad for humans. Like, most of the coins, yeah, it's just horrible. And I think it's gonna come. Crypto is probably gonna come to a rude awakening. So, so if I go to Nomex, their crypto data. So you have 9,000 coins, but only 2,500 coins are at the moment traded. And I mean, there is so many dead coins. Like, there's so many coins, they just die and never come back, because there's just too many. There's too many of these random coins, and there's too many of these random coins that are trying to do the same things. Like, a lot of coins are doing this buzzword of either oracles, or they're already talking about transaction speed. But why does transaction speed matter if you don't have any users? If you had thousands or millions of users, yes, transaction speed, like, we need super fast transactions, would be pretty nice. But when you don't even have any users, you don't even have any real market you can cover that has a real proven business model and like a way where they can get a revenue, why do you need a bunch of transaction speed? You don't even have any users. It kind of reminds me about people that want to start a company, but they're focusing all their time on building that website, or coming up with a website name, or coming up with a stupid logo. People like to distract themselves. People like to people are so into this, like, distract themselves, or tell themselves fancy stories that makes them feel good for the moment, because it makes people feel really good when they consider stuff like, oh, Chainlink are gonna do amazing things in the world. They're gonna like scale and grow and everything. So everyone is like talking a bunch of fancy words, and but where is the proof that this has a real market and a real utility and something that's really needed in the real world? Like, I think they're talking about price oracles or something like that, that you can get pricing data from multiple APIs or something like that. But is that really like super important? Is it like a major need in the world that needs to get fixed? I mean, we already have prices. We already have fairly decent things, right? We don't have to like hardcore decentralized everything. And yeah, so divide and conquer. We're gonna see more of this in crypto, and yeah, we're gonna see more of this, because what I realized is, like, I thought it would be kind of easy for eventually for people to use their own intelligence and to learn, okay, so if I say, okay, these coins are horrible, and this is the logic behind it, this is the logic reasoning that I'm using to find out that these coins are horrible because X, Y, and Z. If I just tell people that, they're gonna be competent and respond to that information, and they're not gonna interact with those coins. But that's not really how humans work. Humans love to use the trash, even when they heard logically that this is probably bad for them because it's probably going to collapse to zero. So there was a lot of people that got into Steam that thought that it had high level of integrity and competence, but it proved to be false. It proved that most people are super corrupt, and that there is really no hope for them to improve, because that's just the mode they're in. They're probably going to be the mode they're going to be in all of their life. They're probably never going to improve, and you come to these hard realizations that most people probably do not know what they're doing, and they probably haven't done proper research into what they're getting into. So, I mean, that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. It's very sad to see divide and conquer tactics being used on people, and every time I ask these Bitcoiners, right, like, what's your solution for all these BTC scams that scammers are doing on YouTube, where they're taking famous people's faces and like using it to make money? What is their solution to that? And they're like, oh, we don't have any solution because Bitcoin is so decentralized, and we believe in net neutrality, that everyone can do whatever they want. But then what happens is you get all these abusers coming in. They just abuse the mainstream, and the Bitcoin brand gets worse, and nobody is working on improving it, because you have a tragedy of the commons effect. And it's like, okay, but we Hexicans are trying to do something better, right? We're trying to build something better by, if you in theory create the most powerful brand in crypto, and you starve scams out of resources, maybe that can work. Like, maybe it actually can work, because if Hex can market itself in the same places, and if people realize Hex actually is a good brand, it is actually something that works right now, and it's something that goes on auto on the Ethereum blockchain because it's a smart contract, and you can go and look at the code. What's nice about this, that it's not any humans involved, okay? The code just keeps on going, and that's basically what we want, because if people are starting to like those kind of projects where the code is just growing and the interest is just going without any humans doing anything, if we can get people, we may be able to starve scams out of resources by basically be able to outcompete them with a better brand and a better product. Just like Spotify could outcompete that people were downloading songs and everything from various shady resources. Spotify, they created a better product. So now most people are just using Spotify instead, because it's very useful, it's just a better product, and most people like it. Hex is trying to be like the Spotify for Spotify for money, where people can just like, where you just have a nice interest system. So banks, they are not offering us an interest-based system at the moment. You have like negative interest rates and all of this, and there's no other crypto thing at the moment that are offering you like automated interest if you're interested in that. So it's like Hex is having a real niche and a real industry, and Hex is trying to reduce the divide and conquer that Hexicans are seeing in the cryptocurrency industry, where we're seeing these scammers are just abusing all of these other brands, both famous people and also coins. Like the BTC brand is so confusing for the average person, because nobody really knows what Bitcoin is. Is it going to be used for like transactions, or is it going to be used for digital gold? But how can it be digital gold when it does these massive crashes, like it did a massive crash in March this year, where it went from 10K to 5K in a very short period of time? Is that really that good of a product for the mainstream masses, to get the mainstream masses into? Is it really good to get people into Bitcoin when some of the biggest corrupt entities dealing with Bitcoin, the biggest exchanges, the centralized exchanges like Huobi and Binance, has a track record of mafia activity in this industry? Is it really good to get people into Bitcoin then? I don't think so. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous industry, and I think Hex is solving a lot of these things that Bitcoin cannot really solve. Like the space around Bitcoin is just bad, and I think it's getting worse all the time, and I don't see anything improving anytime soon. There's almost no merchants that are accepting Bitcoin because nobody really owns any Bitcoin. Basically, wealth needs to spread, and I don't see wealth spreading with Bitcoin. It is too centralized in a few key major wallets, and basically the banks own most of the Bitcoins. And if banks basically collapse, if you have a central banks collapse, probably the Bitcoin thing is probably going to go down with that. So like if the public is not going to buy the Bitcoin at a large scale, like you may see some people buy some Bitcoin, but like I don't think most people are that interested in buying something that can like crash 50% in value in like 1 month. I don't think it's that exciting for most people to try to get into that. So if the public is not going to buy it, and we have a few companies that bought like some coins, but those companies are probably going to get they're probably getting fooled. Like there is a lot of ignorance about money, and a lot of companies, they may be good at making money, but I don't think they're that smart when it comes to this crypto and digital space. They don't realize how corrupt it is, because there's a lot of people that are like promoting Bitcoin and pretending everything's fine, and I think that's very dishonest, especially when you know how many corrupt actors there are being involved with Bitcoin and hangs around Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't really think Bitcoin is going to be something big in this upcoming decade, because there are other players with marketing budgets, other things that probably are going to be able to reach the mainstream way better because they're going to be innovative. I don't know Bitcoin having any plan to reach the mainstream masses, and it's going to be too expensive to reach the mainstream masses, especially if you don't have a good brand. Even it's going to cost like millions and millions of dollars just to improve the brand image of Bitcoin, and there's already been too much damage done, I think, to even improve it. You don't even have that many cool people involved anymore. Like a lot of cool people that were competent, they've kind of quit or moved on to other things. So yeah, I think most of this fake DeFi is divide and conquer, and HEX is true DeFi, and yeah, I think humans should just let code running, and probably it will work out for the best. Have a great day, DTube.